Hello and welcome to the first video of the Know Thy Healing channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Nikki Leach. I'm a terrain-based naturopathic practitioner, which means that I approach medicine, I approach my practice, health, healing, I approach my understanding of the body through a terrain philosophy, through the terrain lens. And I also try to practice like the old school naturopaths did, which their central philosophy was that nature is the first physician. Another key thing was that they understood and recognized and worked with the self-correcting, self-healing intelligence of the body. They knew that the body was designed to self-correct. We literally have a biological impulse within us that is always trying to get us back to balance, get us back to homeostasis. That is what the purpose of symptoms are. They are adaptive expressions that the body uses. It's a system, mechanisms that the body can employ, whether it's through fever or through increasing blood pressure or inflammation. These are all adaptive responses, and they're all part of the intelligent system that the body uses, again, to return to homeostasis or to attempt to heal and come back to a place of balance. So when it comes to medicine, we want to use and work with medicine very wisely, very intelligently. And one of the ways in which we can do this is to observe what the body is already trying to do, honor the intelligence of the body, and then pick medicines and choose approaches that work with what the body is already trying to do, support what the body is doing, help bring it to resolution. Now, we see the opposite approach being taken in Western medicine, right? If you have high blood pressure, you take a medication to just bring the blood pressure down. Nobody's asking, well, why is the blood pressure needing to be, increased in the first place? And what lifestyle or environmental factors or diet-related things are contributing to why the body would feel the need to increase the blood pressure? Because remember, let's come back to the central principle here. The body knows what it's doing. There is a self-correcting, self-healing intelligence in the body. So if blood pressure is rising or increasing, then there is a need for that. Not enough blood is getting to the organs, let's say. So the body, without you having to do anything, increases the pressure to get that blood flowing to where it needs to go, right? So you can take this principle and apply it to every symptom, right? A fever, we're taught to take ibuprofen, things to just bring the fever down, right? Because it's all about pain management and symptom suppression. And we forget the fact that the fever is there to protect us, is there to help. It's the body's way of heating things up, increasing blood flow, increasing oxygen and nutrients, and ultimately getting you to sweat so that you can, increase your lymphatic flow and drain something out or eliminate something out that the body doesn't want in there, right? So coming back to the old school naturopaths, they honored the body's intelligence. They knew that symptoms were expressions of the body trying to return to balance, and so they carefully tried to work with that understanding through natural means, whether it's hydrotherapy, heliotherapy, diet-related approaches. There's so many different paths that one could take, but coming back to nature as well, right? Nature as the first physician. So we know that we were never meant to be cut off from nature. It's one of the biggest lies that man told himself, was that we were somehow separate from nature. Now, personally, I believe that a large handful of the chronic illness and the chronic disease would resolve itself if people left the fast-paced, hyper-modernized, constant indoor, constant screen type of living styles that we have become so accustomed to. Because there is a healing potency to being in nature, whether it's just simple stuff, breathing fresh air, spending time outdoors, getting enough sunlight, moving your body, swimming in lakes, but really coming back to these foundational principles, because I don't care how evolved or advanced we ever become, you cannot remove the fact that we depend on nature. We are nature. We are a part of it. We can't, nothing good will come from spending most of your time indoors, breathing stagnant air, being cut off from the natural sunlight, natural light, right? So these are all things that we're going to go deeper into, but two primary principles here are that nature is one of the first physicians, and that we all have our own inner physician, right? The body's own self-healing intelligence. So along my path, I discovered a lot of things that I didn't like about Western medicine. We'll probably make a whole nother video on that. But I started asking what else is out there. You know, what are the other approaches to health, to healing, to medicine, right? In the holistic health world, you could say. And so, as you guys know, terrain philosophy, the terrain is a huge part. It's the most important part of the way that I understand health and understand the body. So we will be going deep into that. But I started to find other systems of medicine. Chinese medicine, classical Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, German New Medicine, osteopathy. I mean, I couldn't believe that I hadn't heard of all of these other systems of healing, systems of medicine. And so, and you know, the thing that they all have in common is that they all recognize that self-healing, self-correcting intelligence of the body. They all recognize the mind and body as being one interconnected whole, right? Western medicine tends to see the body as a collection of isolated parts that can be cut into at will, right? However, there's consequences for that approach to medicine, right? And we see them very clearly today through the chronic disease rates and through the amount of money even spent on healthcare in this country, $4.5 trillion per year, and we're still one of the sickest countries in the quote-unquote developed countries. But anywho, we're going to be touching on all of this deeper. This first video is just kind of a chance for me to introduce myself, go a little bit deeper into some of the central principles of my approach to understanding health, understanding the body, understanding medicine. And I'm just excited to be on this journey, excited to share, to teach. I'm not used to being making videos, so bear with me as I learn to articulate and communicate better. But there's so much that I want to share, so much I want to teach. And speaking of that word teach, the original word for doctor comes from the Latin docere, which means to teach, right? It's docere means to teach. And so the role of the doctor, first and foremost, is not to intervene and to make all your problems go away or to silence your symptoms. The role is to empower someone, to teach someone about the true nature of the body, about the true nature of health, about the true nature of what causes disease and what doesn't, and what builds and strengthens and sustains health. So that is first and foremost what I'm here to do as a practitioner, is to teach things that I believe could be valuable, could make a positive impact, could empower you to become more self-led in your own healing journey. Again, know thy healing comes from know thyself, the great maxim that reminds us that one of the greatest things we can strive to do is to know ourselves truly, is to look at all parts of ourselves, to bring all parts of ourselves into the light, to want to get intimately involved in our own healing journey. And I think I'll end with something that is obvious to me, but I forget that for many people it's not so obvious, which is that the mind, body, and spirit, or the mind, body, and heart, if you want to call it that, they are all connected. They all work in tandem with one another. So the path to healing involves all of it. You cannot just, fix your diet and everything goes away, right? Because we all meet the person that has a great diet, they're exercising all the time, they take the right remedies, you could say. Everything's right on paper, but they're still prone to illness. They're still divided within. They're still running into issues where they're depleted, midday crashes, whatever it might be, right? And then on the flip side, we also meet the people that don't really take care of their health all too much on paper, yet they seem to sort of walk through life gracefully and without too many health problems, and they're robust in their health. And so there's some things there that we'll go into, but mind, body, and spirit, right? You can't just focus on fixing the body or fixing physical symptoms without also looking at the attitudes, the belief systems, the thoughts, the things that contributed to the habits and to the emotional patterns that may have led you to the physical symptoms, right? As I think, so I feel, so I act. Thoughts and emotions precede the actions and behaviors that we take. So this is another fundamental tenet of the work that I do. The work I do with clients is highlighting these components. So I'll stop rambling. Thank you for being here.